I forgot about that though.
Alright, bet.
I watched quite a lot of animes in the past 6 years of my life, starting with Naruto, which had probably the most nostalgia from my childhood, to now watching Naruto once again. Well, that aside, I do have 150 anime entries on my anime list, and up until a week ago it was missing one series that I had forgotten about. This series is a 2014 anime created by MAPPA in the early days called Terror in Resonance. Does that ring a bell? I wouldn't be surprised if it does, because it is popular. It is good, apparently. But why did that such good show slip my mind and was staying in the dark for years? I had to figure that out. What do you think makes a great series great? Animation?
Art direction, voice acting, sound design, visual effects, compositing.
It's right, bro. It's right.
There is no doubt that every part of creating anime is important in its own way, but at the core of the whole story is story. Every story has its own purpose and direction in which writers decide to lead it in. At the very least, I think it has to. I'll give you a little synopsis of Terror in Resonance, and you try to guess what it is all about. We meet two overcapable teenage boys who start terrorizing Japan with a lot of bad incidents, right? But they're not just a couple of bad guys. 9 and 12 actually have some goal in mind that they try to achieve by feeding police department video riddles on how to find and disarm their bad toys. Oh, and also there is this bully girl Lisa. That's basically it. Can you tell where this is going? I couldn't. And that's not bad. Two high schoolers blown up at Tokyo City Hall and miserable high school girl becomes the accomplice is an awesome start to a series. Not knowing what to expect and seeing the mysteries unfold in front of our eyes is a great way to keep us engaged. That is, until it isn't. We get a first riddle, it's super cool and interesting. We get to learn about some Greek mythology, we get to see dots being connected, we get to see Investigation Division fail. Boom! Awesome, I'm invested. I'm thinking, what is the meaning of this? What's going to be boy's next move? What's police gonna do about it? We get the second riddle. Hell yeah, I like those. This retired detective, Shibazaki, solved it on his own once again and presents his low-key weird and sloppy explanation to the whole country live. I don't know why he went live and was acting so arrogantly before the bomb's location was even confirmed, but okay, at least his solution kinda did make sense. We get the third riddle, and for another episode, Investigation Division does some rash, stupid things, while Shibazaki tries to figure things out on his own. What's worse is that this time the answer to the question posed by Sphinx number 1 and Sphinx number 2 was barely even logical. At the end came down to endless guesses and lucky coincidence. Don't get me wrong, these episodes were still interesting and the tension was always there. On top of that, the way mythology was implemented in this whole mystery was pretty cool. But as long as riddles don't make complete sense in my head and leave a bad aftertaste, I want the story to progress, to know where 9 and 12 go with it. Yet riddle after riddle after riddle after riddle, I'm still clueless. And not for the reason of being inattentive or stupid. There are not enough relevant hints in this story. Matter of fact, the only one we got was nice recurrent dream of 9 and 12 trying to escape some institution and in the process losing their friend. That's what I thought. Even that dream, my only source of light on the path to understand what is going on, was fake. They've shown me boys escaping, seeing their friends stumble and burn. After waking up in a cold sweat, 9 says,
"All of those children were weak. That's why they died. We were weak too. That's why we couldn't save them."
But now that we were introduced to a new character that became an immediate threat to their plan, 9 wakes up from a slightly different dream and says,
If she'd wanted to escape with us, she could have. I think she just likes playing the game.
well, maybe she could have escaped, but I was definitely led to believe otherwise. So, this new enemy, 5, what about her? Will she bring some clarity to what Sphinx are trying to achieve? Nah. Man, she's such a mess. Everything about her start to finish is unapologetically silly. First scene where 9 somehow realizes that 5 is back basically sets the bar of writing the ceiling of logic for the rest of the series. I'm hacking, bypassing the firewall, getting into the mainframe.
English please, 日本語でお願いします。
Basically, I just need to find back into their whole operation system and damn it, I'm being hacked. Oh no, I'm being hacked. They definitely know their stuff. It's her. Of all the hackers on this entire planet that are still alive right now, like at this moment they're alive and were not burned to death years ago, I know it's her. It's 5. This does not make any sense. And most of the rest will not either. 5 is now an FBI agent, but in reality she is nothing more than a villainous villain who does atrocious things for the sake of doing atrocious things. As an FBI agent, she is supposed to catch 9 and 12 and bring them to justice. But as a certified devil incarnate, 5 does some funny things. First, she allows a train with dozens of people to blow up even though it didn't have to, and doesn't even catch things, just starts to play games with them. And then she actively becomes a terrorist by trying to blow up an airport with hundreds of people all over some game of chess. Then she blows up Boy's hideout, even though she didn't have to. She could have raided the place and get them, but no. And then she kidnaps an innocent, or almost innocent, doesn't matter. She kidnaps a girl to blow her up on the Ferris wheel, but finally gets serious about her actual mission and still fails. And to top it all off, 5 initializes a brainless action scene for the sake of action scene. 5 goes roam, roam, then she goes bang, bang, then police officers go I lost my consciousness, oh no. Then 12 goes roam, roam, then goes boom, and goes I fell from the bike for no reason, oh no. Following that explosion that did not affect their car, 5 and her partner went out of the car for no reason and...
You're relieved of your duties, 5, effective immediately.
Oh no, betrayal. 5 goes bang, then she goes roam, roam, then she goes get out of the way. Then she goes 9. I could never catch up to you. I always wanted to, but haven't had time. You were the only thing that kept me going. Leave for me too. Goodbye. 9. Is this coherent? You're confused. Me too, I still am. As I said earlier, 5 was just a villain. No reason could explain her decisions. I've tried, trust me. I've spent a lot of time analyzing every little detail that's come my way. But after this scene, I felt like every interpretation that I was coming up with was artificial. It was as if I'm trying to prove that something is not as bad, when in reality it is. There was this funny moment when I was writing my first script for this video, and after quite some time it clicked. I knew the answer to one of the stupidest things in this show. Why were 5 and the FBI allowed to do everything they did unsupervised? This allowed them to be literal terrorists in a foreign country, legally. It clicked in my head and I was so excited to explain why this is not stupid. No, it's actually comprehensible. I went on talking about nuclear weapons, the United States and Japan's relationship, Japan's law enforcement. All those things connected and made it make sense. I was happy, right? Until I watched the next episode. Some other stupid shit that denies everything I said was revealed and it hit me. Authors never meant for it to make sense. Some might argue that it's not that deep and most of the things could be explained with it's just an anime. And I agree, but that's exactly what pisses me off. It's just another anime. Terror Resonance could be great. It could be one of the great with all the things going on for it. Like seriously, everything about this anime screams peak. Interesting at its core story, beautiful animation, amazing, again at its core, amazing characters, and basically everything else except for the writing. If you still don't believe me that writers did not take it seriously, remember at the very start I mentioned bullied girl Lisa. Yeah, she's one of the main characters. Have I said anything about her? No. And that's because there is nothing to say. She's a definition of damsel in distress. And it's not her fault, she just doesn't belong to the story. I genuinely think they should have been either not a part of this anime, or be a different character, maybe with the same circumstances but with different qualities that would allow her to play an actual role. I know I've said quite a lot of not so good things about the series, but if you still want to watch it,
go ahead.
Go ahead, because I've left out a lot and did not really spoil that much. So now, knowing not to expect much from Terror and Resonance, you can probably enjoy it more than I did. It still has a lot to offer. And as for me, I understand now why I've forgotten about it. The story is just idiotic. It started off great, but at the end of it, I did not feel the characters and I did not like the mystery aspect. It really could be a 10 out of 10. Yet unfortunately, the series opted to be overcomplicated sometimes, so at other times when it's being stupid, audience wouldn't bat an eye. Yeah. And go ahead and subscribe, but it's not like I want you to. Baka!